Hello everyone, welcome back to another Manage training session. Today we're going to be running through how to review the current tenants that are in arrears through the Managed app, and also going through ways that you can communicate to the tenants with the arrear tasks. So you've got a few options in regards to how you can review arrears in the system. First one is on your dashboard. So when you jump in, first thing you see on your dashboard is that big arrears box, which gives you a bit of an indication of which tenants are in arrears and at what day point. So as you can see, I've got different columns highlighting that there are tenants in arrears. My main tenants that are in arrears are within the 15 to 30 day period. Now, if I hover on over, it tells me that there are 4, and then the different columns, just depending on the day range, shows the amount of tenants that are in arrears. If I was to click on any one of these columns, it's going to pop up a snapshot of the current tenants that are in arrears. I can export this data. I can tick and show just the terminated leases, or untick to show all of them. It also gives me a bit of an indication of how many days they are in arrears and which primary tenant it is linked to. Another way to review arrears within the system is going via the Action Center. So if you go to the Action Center, you're going to come to the type box and you're going to search arrears. Filter to your name, or you can clear the filter and it's going to bring up every property manager in the system, just depending on the user settings that your principal has allowed you to have in terms of access to other users. I'm going to filter that down and it's going to give me that list of tenants that are currently in arrears as well. It starts with the due date, so highest up the top and then lowest down the bottom, which I could filter if I wanted to. In regards to how you can start to communicate with the tenants is through this task section. So the system does start to notify the tenants automatically as soon as their rent starts to reach 3 days overdue. Anything before that you guys can manually update the tenants. Otherwise, you can allow the system to send the notifications directly to their email every day until their rent is paid, and that's from the 3-day point. If I wanted to come and communicate to my tenant, all I would do is click on a task. I would make sure that I assign the tenant as a task follower. Then I'm going to save it. I'm going to click a little reply, choose my tenants, and send them a little follow-up message on their rental payments. That has now logged a message to the tenant in regards to this arrear task. I might come in and I might also add through this task some agency notes. So I would click reply, agency, and that just pops a little message in that task that I have attempted to communicate with the tenant, and anyone from my office who jumps in and reviews this arrear task can see that as well. Then finally, I might directly communicate with my owner through this task by selecting reply and then sending a message to the owner. Beautiful. All right, at any point you can also click on the property, jump over to the transactions tab and get a further in-depth look on which rental payment periods are overdue in rent as well. If you are a principal, you can see arrears via the reports tab by selecting snapshot. You can either filter by agency or manager, and then it's going to give you the arrears box there. Again, you can click and export that data. Finally, another way you can review overdue payments is via the Payments Center. All you need to do is click Payments, Payment Center, and then you're going to filter it down. So you're going to choose upcoming payment rent as the type. If it's overdue or not overdue, you can filter by the agency and as well the property manager. This one gives a further breakdown of which rental item is overdue, not as a whole, so it gives the individual rental items. The only difference between this and the Action Center is you cannot reply via the Payment Center directly to the tenant or to the owner. This also gives, again, like I said, the individualized breakdown of which payment periods they are overdue, whereas via the Action Centre just gives you the overall task that they are overdue in rent. Hopefully that has given you a better understanding of how the rental payments work through the system in terms of arrears and the ways that you can search for the arrears and communicate with the tenant and the owner via the task as well.